All right, guys, we are back in the loading screen. I swear it'll be done soon. It's almost done. It's almost done.
I blame Frank,
The
honestly.
anticipation is building. This is actually the anticipation screen. Oh, we're in the game now. Okay, great. So here we go in the pink at the bottom of the map from the team Evil Geniuses. We had a Zerg player advance yesterday. Will our Zerg player today advance? It is Evil Geniuses Machine. And in the upper left part of the map, in the red from the team Vile, it is a very good up-and-coming Protoss player from North America. It is State.
We saw a ZVP on Incineration Zone yesterday. Can't believe I'm actually saying those words that they're coming out of my mouth.
That's right. This happened. This is actually happening.
And so and we saw WBC, Goes to WBC, decide to go after the 4-gate, but now his opponent, Machine, is actually 7-pooling on Incineration Zone. Not going with what Violet did. Violet went with a very defensive style, eventually moving up to Roaches. This time around, though, Machine, 7-pooling.
He wants to make it fast. He wants to try to kill his opponent off quickly. Obviously, this is a tiny map. It's kind of a little bit difficult to play a longer game if you are a Zerg player here, as you can like pretty much hit every base from every other base with any unit, really. Even like an SCV can probably like hit the opponent's mineral line from their base. I'm sure with some special drill
it
tactic.
Could be.
There's a gateway going down at the normal time for a Vile State. I talked to him a little bit earlier. He said he's like, I have to relearn all my sentry expands, is what he told me earlier today when I talked to him.
Okay.
And so he's a little bit thrown off. He says, all my timings feel messed up on these maps. And I'd said, well, good. We want messed up stuff. We want fun stuff in the Olde map tournament, and this probe is going to be in for a bit of a shock.
Yes, he is. He's going to see that very early pull here in a second. Zergling's just popping out. He knows what is afoot. A probe immediately rallies itself back, and he drops down a second gateway as soon as is possible. Already a second pylon to power those as well.
And I don't think that's walled in, so he might have to do a little bit of blocking with that probe as well. I don't think that Zealot's going to get out in time to block those Zerglings. And we'll see starting that Zealot. Oh, he's supply blocked. He can't even start the Zealot because he's waiting for his pylon to finish. Uh-oh, the Zerglings get into the base. We're going to have to see some pretty awesome probe micro from State.
Yeah, he's already lost a couple of them, though.
Yes.
And, 2 workers have fallen so far. The first Zealot is just popping out at the moment. It is being chrono boosted. A second one being rallied in after that. And State actually just going to go ahead and block off further reinforcements. No. Now finally pulling that Zealot off of the line.
Yep, that's right. The Zealot and the probes are going to be plenty to handle those Zerglings. And, I think Machine's just going to be able to be very annoying here, but not really able to cause too much more damage. Might pick off a probe or two, but it looks like State is going to stabilize.
Yeah, and looks like Machine just going to do some damage to the pylon. Could decide to jump out of there. No, actually, another Zealot popping up in time. Machine has to run his Zerglings back into the middle line here, and State will pull a few off to immediately start doing some damage. Machine finally losing his first Zergling, and we're going to see if that lost mining time was worth it for him. He is following this up with an incredibly quick Roach Warren.
Yeah, he is actually going to go for Roaches right out of this, so Machine not giving up quite yet. Return of the 1 bases. It is a Ye Olde map tournament. And the Zergling's still alive, man. I mean, if he can... All right, so he's losing some now. I was going to say, if he could keep those Zerglings alive until the Roaches got there, that would have made that army so much stronger. But as it is now, he's going to have to rely on just those Roaches. But look at this. His Roach Warren is going to be finished, and he's not going to have very much gas built up quite yet. So Machine not really going to be able to use that Roach Warren all that much.
Right, and, State usually has no gas. In fact, he's putting down a forge right now, starting to build that in towards his natural. I'm not actually sure what direction he's going to go with that. He is rallying a bunch of that. 2 Roaches are on the way now for Machine, but is that going to be enough to stop the Zealot pressure?
Okay, I thought maybe he was going to go after the Roach Warren, but if he clicks on the gas at all, he'll know that there's not a lot of gas mined yet, and he can just kind of zone out this Queen. This is actually looking a little bit rough for Machine here, man. He's got a couple Roaches popping out. Oh, immediately almost being surrounded by the Zealots.
Yeah, one of them gets trapped. It's so low in health already. Actually, 2 of them are very low in health.
Oh, yeah.
And the Zealots are going to be able to dispatch of those here in just a bit. They may take some losses. Pretty good control for Machine now as he finally has an unhurt Roach running around the side, and he will be able to dispatch of those Zealots eventually. But still, he's lost 2 workers, so he's State is equalized in that regard.
Oh, nice. Keeps that 1 Roach alive. This is really looking like a ZVP from beta for sure right now, man. I mean, we've got 1 base Roaches against a lot of Zealots out of 2 gateways. Yeah, this is all seeming very, very familiar to me now that I'm seeing this. but it looks like Machine is just having a little bit of trouble kind of getting some traction here in this game. What's the worker count right now for these players?
It is 12-19 in favor of State now, and State, of course, does have that expansion coming up.
Okay. Wow. All right, so Machine ready to go on the offensive with his 3 roaches, but there's already a Forge and a cannon up for State. State looking very strong.
And, you know, he is actually going to go ahead and wall off that entire incredibly wide choke point running into his natural. So, looks like Zealot there, unfortunately, gets trapped by a couple of roaches, has to hightail it back home.
It was the doodads that weren't letting him run away as quickly. Oh, well, you know, before in the game lobby, Machine asked State, he appealed to him, he said, make it fast. But Machine, the one who's trying to make it fast here, so...
State says he's skipping class for this, by the way.
That's right, I heard about that. The tournament is this important, you know, I mean, yeah, you got clearly, GSL Code S, yeah, you got, you know, some pretty big tournaments, you've IPL 4, but man, Olde map tournament, that... I think that should have a little bit higher priority than a lot of the other events out there. I'm just saying.
State clearly showing that his priorities are in the right place.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, the Forge depowered for just a moment, but the cannon is still alive and well in its mechanical self. Trying to break up that ramp here. Oh, the second Stalker pops out just in time.
Yes, it does, and it's going to be a little bit hard for the Roaches to get things done as those Stalkers are quite speedy. But losing one of those is State, and he's trying to run around with his other one. Machine just trying to pick off a couple of workers here, try and equalize once again in the worker count. He is now tied, going to pop ahead here in just a bit. And he has 8 Roaches out on the field.
Look at that. Yeah, he's taking down a lot of probes with these Roaches here, too. You know, one big difference between the game now and the game back when we saw this map more often is that Roaches only have 3 range back then. It made it much easier for Stalkers to handle them, much harder for Roaches to do damage to buildings at Protoss wall-off. So, yeah, Machine taking advantage of that to the fullest here. And, State needs to be careful here. He can't lose too many more Stalkers. It's a rough situation. Actually, Machine pulling ahead in supply just a little bit here.
Yes, he is. 17 workers to 19. Of course, State now does have that all-important second base down, so we can double-produce probes and continue to get his economy in high gear. But look at that. Machine is just producing so many attack units right now.
He's all in.
Yes, he is.
Slightly.
It is Incineration Zone. Do we expect anything else?
No, dude. Incineration Zone is like... It's the map. It's not the size of the map. It's the tile set that makes you want to go all in because it's aggressive. It's red. It's like flaming and stuff like that. You're like, oh man, this map makes me feel so angry and aggressive. I just don't even want to take another base. I mean, I don't know. State just must have the most insane mental composure to expand on Incineration Zone. That is impressive right there.
That's right, guys. You heard it from Joe. It's not the size of the map, it's how you use it.
That's right.
And he is going after the photon cannons directly. One of them has fallen, but the other 2 were actually inflicting some pretty good damage. It was a good force field to zone a lot of units out, and State trying to rally in a few additional units now. And we'll see if it's going to be enough. A second photon cannon falls. There's still a third up, though, and Machine has taken some pretty considerable losses.
Yeah, not the most efficient way to kill those cannons, really, but Machine's still in an okay spot right now. State is catching up supply-wise, but, Machine, I think he's just going to go right after those sentries. Not a bad decision at all. Those are very, very expensive at this point in the game for State, having to spend 100 gas on each of them. And will he get that last cannon? It's getting low.
Yes, it is. No. But it is going to stay up.
GG. Wow.
GG, and State has taken game number 1.